I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and as we prepare for Couples Retreat, I'm sure you've heard, for those who've joined us and who choose Couples Retreat year after year, how do you feel about the feedback they are sharing?
I'm so excited that they made that commitment to be part of Couples Retreat, and the testimonies they are sharing, or the impact of the retreat, shows that it was impactful. They learned, and their investment was worth it. There are times people have no idea that certain investments will yield such transformative experiences. So I love the feedback they have just given from their couples retreats in the past. And I believe that this year will be bigger.
Definitely. We are going all the way to Tadi. But hearing from couples who've done like 17 years. I mean, the first time I heard that from I started counting how many years I have done. And then there are those like this young man I'm speaking to who's yet about to start this journey. Auntie, and I know you deal a lot with young people. And I'm sure it's those courting, those dating, hoping to be married. How intentional are the youth of today preparing for this major step of marriage? What are you seeing? Small kokonsa.
What am I
seeing and hearing? Yes.
Well, what I am seeing and hearing, I believe many others are also seeing and hearing. But you see, when we talk of marriage and marriage preparation, just like any trade or just like any other activity, people want to play football. They start very early. They go into training with coaches and prepare them for the World Cup or prepare them for the best teams. Same way in marriage. Let's go a little back. You would find out that 30 years plus ago, we did a lot of unconscious training from home in the cultures. So a young lady is taught to take care of the home, cook, prepare. When you become a young girl, once you are the first or second born, you're a deputy mom, as somebody named it.
Recently, my daughter was like, Mommy, you are making me do everything in this house. What is Kojo doing?
Exactly.
Like, oh boy.
So she's learning unconsciously. It's part of preparation. So these are all the informal preparations that especially the ladies are put through. Unfortunately, a lot of men are not being given intentional preparation towards marriage. Yes, maybe for life. There are some parents who have been more intentional with their sons, making sure they can cook, they can clean, they can take care of themselves. But not too many are preparing these young boys for marriage. Now, preparation is a whole process on its own, and it doesn't start when you meet somebody and you want to get to live with the person. It starts right from childhood. It starts from self-care, self-leadership. It starts from emotional intelligence. It starts from character building. It starts from team building. It starts from your Christian growth, discipleship. It starts from healthy living, taking care of yourself. And so back to your question of what do we see today among the young ones, you'll find out that because of the changing dynamics in terms of parent absenteeism, globalization, access to information, the young ones today don't have as much direct information from their parents as they would have gotten maybe in the communal days, where if mommy is not there, your auntie is there, your grandmother is there, the chief is calling regularly for community meetings where you are being trained. And so there were so many voices around you training you. But now we live more in an isolated world. So it is either your teachers, your friends, and social media, or church, if you are the church type.
I mean, I remember us growing up in Dansoman, and it was a big house. We had lots of aunties there, lots of cousins. What mom missed out on, your auntie would draw your attention to. It was great. It was great growing up in those large communities. I mean, it had discomforts, definitely.
Definitely. So you see, the preparation is unconscious and then also consciously. And so when the young ones who now get into their teenage years start experiencing the search for meaning, who I am, who am I, what can I do? At the same time, they start developing these urges within them that, I saw the young boy and my heart started fluttering. What do I do with my sexual urges? What do I do with the feeling, the butterflies that have started building up? forgetting that even biology is signaling you that it is preparing you for a time where you would now have full expression in marriage for these urges. It's also telling you that there's a time where you will now be reproductively ready, but that is at a stage of responsibility. So your body is signaling you are getting married. Your senses, your emotions are telling you that, well, your feelings are actually working. So these are the preparatory stages. Unconsciously. Now, intentional preparation comes where you as an individual either submit yourself to mentors, coaches, seminars, workshops like you are having for couples retreats, where you go and learn what does it take to be a wife? What does it take to be a husband? When we read the book of Esther in the Bible, Esther, before she was sent to the king Ahasuerus, the Bible tells us that she had 1 year of preparation. 6 months with a particular oil, another 6 months with another oil. And I'm sure they didn't give us all the details, the way they would walk, the way they would talk. And like one marriage counselor drew our attention, I think I had not even thought of it. He says, did you realize that all she did was just for one night with a king? And it was actually a sexual experience of one night. And it took her 1 full year of preparation for a one night experience, because it was based on that one night that she was going to be selected or retained. Now we want to spend 40, 50, 70 years with somebody we didn't know, we didn't grow up with, and we just walk into that person's life based on feelings and expect that everything should go well. It doesn't work that way. Even the people you have grown up with from your home and your family, you realize that as siblings, sometimes you just even don't know how to relate to each other. How much more complete strangers.
So raised up so differently.
So differently. Cultures, beliefs, ideologies, way of life, everything is different.
I was listening to a counselor share a story about how he and his wife, before they married, they thought they were very similar. They have the same ideologies and everything. Till they got married and realized, we're actually not that alike. We're very different.
And most people don't realize that, because many people are not self-aware. And so in preparation, first stages, you yourself need to go through what I call self-awareness. It is an emotional intelligence development stage. Who are you? How do you behave? What are your temperaments? What are your abilities? What are the things that make you, define you, your value systems? What are the things you stand for? Many people don't know themselves.
And I think I'm getting what you're saying, because a few times I've listened to the Sunset Drive and Baba's had a story to share. And there's a woman talking about how she's being treated by somebody she's not even married to. And I'm thinking, do you know who you are? What are your values? Because if you know all these things, I'm sure by now you should know that maybe this thing is not something, it doesn't even need to get to a whole populace telling you that, madam, this is not working. So I do get what you're saying about we know who we are, our values, our principles. It helps to save us of a lot of things.
But when they are young, back to the question, when people are young, they throw some of these things casually to the wind. They just assume that, well,
everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine. There's so much faith. There's so much exuberance.
He loves the Lord. I love the Lord. He's a prayer warrior. I'm a praise and worship leader. It will work.
And I may be wrong, but it looks like there's more danger in the church.
Auntie Anna, let's talk about that. What's that?
There's more danger in the church, in the sense that we have the Bible, which is our tool and our guide. A lot of these young ones don't even read the Bible, so they don't know what the manual says. They know what the pastor said. And even then, they wouldn't listen to the full sermon. They would choose and pick, because now half of their time is on social media whilst they are in church. And so they don't even understand the full dynamics of what God's word says and how they are to apply it in their everyday life. And so you find a lot of naive Christian ladies and gentlemen in the church, naive about relationships, naive about team building, naive about conflict resolution, naive about even finding the kind of men. Somebody said, have you noticed that these naughty girls seem to get the best guys?
Yeah, I have noticed that.
Of course. You know what happens?
And they seem to marry very early as well.
They marry very early because they think their heads are firmly screwed on. They know how to seductively win the guy's heart.
Okay.
They play around in their youthful years. And then when they get to when they want to settle, they don't go for the playboys. They want the Christian men who have good values, who won't run away from them. And then the Christian men also don't know how to read in between the lines. They see these girls as, oh my God, she's all over me. Now we have our Christian daughters who we warn to stay away from the men. And so they also stay in their corners waiting to be found. And before they would be found, these girls would have slipped in and would have found the Christian men.
There's a founding.
So there is a cross going on. And so you find many great Christian ladies in churches. Nobody's approaching them.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have the skills. Whatever skill Queen Esther had that kept her Hazeros, they don't have it.
So, Auntie Hannah, there's a skill to being found or finding and being kept.
There is. There is.
Can we have a workshop on that one of these days?
There is. Some of us learned it, unfortunately, the hard way, because we grew up in the typical Christian world. So we didn't know these things.
Yeah.
So it is knowledge, reading, and then after making our own sets of mistakes, that you are like, oh my God,
Yeah.
no wonder this happened. So we now start looking at the patterns among the young ones. And then we realize that, oh, our girls are being too naive. Our girls are they are giving themselves overrated. I mean, everybody is putting on a bluff. Everybody feels I value so much. They are overvalued in themselves. And so
overvalue, pa.
Yes, a lot of them put so much value on themselves, yet when you get close to them,
There isn't much happening.
There's not much happening.
A young man says, Auntie Hannah, when you text them, they'll tell you they are not active on WhatsApp. So how would the conversation happen? I mean, it's one of the most common ways to interact now.
Yes. And so they don't have the communication skills. They don't have the networking skills. They are not sociable. And so these are all part of the preparation. Now, even how to read in between the lines. A very young, naive Christian girl is talking to a boy. And the guy is a playboy. And I was recently talking to somebody. And I was smiling. When some people speak, you can just know this is seductive language. But the person is giving cues, and the young girl sits down innocently, enjoying the conversation, feeling so important in somebody's life. Meanwhile, that person is just playing with you. Our Christian girls, some cannot read in between the lines. They've not been taught to know that this is serious, this is not. Clear values and stay in environments where you meet like-minded. So when we talk of preparation, it's spiritual, physical, mental. At all three levels, we need to prepare.
So you've talked about the first stage, which is knowing yourself. And I would love for us to move on to the next one, if you can help us with that.
Okay.
How many stages are there actually?
It varies depending on everybody's, what do you call it? Ladder or skills that they decide.
How many skills are you going to take us on today?
Let's do just 4. Let's do 4.
This message says the Christian brothers, they say we don't have words, so we try to tell them sweet words. Is that bad? The Christian brothers are competing with the playboys.
They shouldn't compete. They should just learn the right skills. But you see, have you read the Songs of Solomon? It's such a romantic book.
Yeah,
so if they lack words, they should read Songs of Solomon. It is the
Upgrade
Bible.
yourself. All right.
So
to the second.
once you get aware of who you are, the next thing is you must decide what you want. Very important in preparation. Many people don't know what they want. Some want to flirt around. They just want friendship. And some want marriage. So if you want marriage, you should set your values. What kind of person do I want? So I know who I am, and I need to know what I want in that other partner so that we could walk that journey together. What kind of marriage? Many people don't want the proper marriage, the Christian way. Some just want an agreement where we are legally married, but we are cohabiting. We are more like a contract. I just want a child. Some want a life relationship. You must be very specific in what you want.
You can't assume that this person you love
Never
and are
assume.
dating once a lifetime marriage.
Assumption is one of the deadliest things that has messed many marriages, because many young girls go into marriage assuming the man will take care of me. And the man also is assuming the woman will be domesticated, will sit at home and give birth and take care of my children. And once I say she shouldn't work, she will not work. They don't have the right conversations. So what do you want? Christian? Same denomination? Because being a Christian, we have varied denominations. We have the Orthodox, we have the Charismatics, we have the Catholics. Which one will match with your faith and your belief systems? Do you want the Baptist, that is the conventional one, or you want the Baptists who are born again, Holy Ghost filled, or the Baptists who are not even Holy Ghost filled? They vary. There are so many variations in the Christian fraternity or Christian world. So what do you want? Many people don't know what they want. They just assume he's a Christian. And then, is he in my church or not in my church? Is he in the faith or not in the faith?
When we have children and we decide, by this time we're married, we're in different churches, where are children going to be?
Very important. Some of these things that look seemingly unimportant are big issues. One of my uncles was in Methodist. He married his wife in Assemblies. And everybody wanted to maintain their church. And they did till they died.
Oh, wow.
But the children ended up following their mother to church. But all these things are very important. What do you want? So define what you want, spiritual level. And then what kind of level of spirituality? Do you, the female, want a spiritual leader? Or you want somebody you can lead?
Hey.
Even these ones create problems. Because you get a great guy who is doing well, who is smart, takes care of you, but spiritually he's weak. And so you realize that he can't be the spiritual leader of the home as the Bible expects him to. So you, the woman, end up doing half of the prayer meetings. Why do you think there are more women in prayer meetings? A lot of the men
and all night
may have left the spiritual leadership to the women, or they look at spiritual issues differently from the way women look at it. But you will find that there's a lot of spiritual disparity. So when there's a warfare, spiritual warfare taking place, who rises up? Who takes charge? Who senses the danger? Who prays into the issues? Spiritual leadership. So that man you want. I've been drawing my young people on campus attention. When we were in the university 30 years ago, most of the spiritual leaders were the males, both the male leadership and the spiritual leaders. Today, most of the campus fellowships have female spiritual leaders, which is great, very good. But I have a question. Who will marry those ladies? Is it the laid-back men who were unspiritual on campus and couldn't even rise up to spiritual leadership on campus? Will they be the spiritual heads of these girls who have been like pastors on campus? You are going to find out in another 10, 15 years, such ladies may have problems in their marriages. It's predictable. Unless they find men who are spiritually at par with them or spiritually higher than them, they will start having issues. So this is part of preparation. So what do you want? Then what do you want mentally? Intellect. Do you want somebody at par with you? You finished SS. Do you want an SS graduate? You finished a first degree. Do you want an SS graduate?
Auntie Hannah, this thing is very, very important.
Sister.
Because the level is the same. You're having a conversation. It's like it's going nowhere. Messy.
Then if you're a master's person and your spouse is a female master's person, and then it's a first degree or an SS graduate, the guy may have money. He has it all. Everything they say, you think because you have gone to school. You think you are too intelligent. You think you are smarter than me. And that may not be what you were saying. It's just because of the information and the knowledge base you have and your ability to process. This is becoming a big issue in many couples' relationships. They just can't reason intellectually on things. These are girls who their parents have invested in. From class 1, this girl was first. And that boy in her class
became SRC president.
Was 31st. They were in the same class. So she was first, he was 31st. No problem. They got to the university. She was still topping. Then they fell in love and she married him. Suddenly, she's not smart again. He's the head of the home, so she's submitting to him. But he brings suggestions and she realizes it could be done differently. Even if she says it the nicest way, he misinterprets it. that knowledge disparity has its way of creating problems. There are guys who may not have gotten to the university, but they have street sense.
Yes, they're street smart, yeah.
So don't even underrate somebody because he didn't go to the university. Never use that as a yardstick.
Yeah.
Your ability to reason intellectually, have healthy debates, emotional intelligence is very important. So the question is, what do you want? Intellectual level. We were taught growing up that men and women, usually women should marry somebody about 7 years older than you because women mature mentally faster because of the biology, the nurturing process, and the way their mind develops. And so many women were looking for, if you are 20, a man who is 25, if you are 25, a man who is 30. But you realize that a lot of women were not finding men like that. So some ended up marrying their peers. And when they are ready for marriage, nurturing, homemaking, the men are not ready. The men still are in the fun time of their life where they are settling, is still friends, is still hanging out.
Boys.
So he is married, but he's still in the boys' world. They settle 35, 40, but it varies. Each of these rules are not hard and fast. So what do you want? Do you want a man who, we've talked about his mental status educationally, now his emotional intelligence abilities, his personality is unique. So you are, I just learned this word, you are a sanguine and you go marry a melancholic. Those two temperaments clash very badly. The word used by PJ was belligerent. He says they clash so badly. And so no matter how much you love the person, because one is a perfectionist and the other is disorderly. One is a fun-loving person and one is inward and overly self-conscious or overly stringent. Let me point this out to you. Most melancholics, they don't put on weight. Most sanguines are overweight.
Okay.
Because of indiscipline. And most melancholics, because they are picky, even in eating, they are picky eaters.
Okay.
And so they are naturally slim. So don't put them on diet. They're already on a natural. So you are going to marry.
They are dieting daily.
They are so disciplined to a fault. If you walk around them, you always feel like you are not matching up. You get 99 in an exam and they'll ask you, who did you leave the one for? When another person gets 50%, and it's like, my French students will tell me, Mama, mais j'ai eu le moyen. I got the average. Yeah. Why more?
It's fine.
There's no need. And so these personality differences. So when you know yourself, you know what you want or who can help you, you will understand that if I marry this kind of person, no matter how spiritual he is, we are going to have problems. Now, physically, what do you want? The TDH? Tall, dark, and handsome?
Oh, is that what TDH?
Oh, yeah, that's TDH.
I must be old.
Are you expired already?
It appears so. Please introduce me to some new terms.
Eish. He must be TDH, tall, dark, and handsome. And he must have the 6 packs. And he must.
I know that one.
he must have the beard for some who like the beard.
Atienne, have you seen those videos of the girls who are lined up? And somebody asked them, he has beard, and they have to, if you want a man with a beard, you stay. If you don't want a man with a beard, you leave. So they measure all these physical things, and some of them are leaving, some of them are staying. I just find that video very interesting. I don't know, I mean, if you have seen on social media.
So these are the physical things, how he looks, how he grooms himself, how you smell. I mean, the perfume that you use, it's a big deal. When you speak, I know one young child who would follow anybody because of the person's ability to speak good English.
Wow.
If you don't speak good English, you are out of the equation. No matter how anointed you are.
No matter how rich you are.
Forget about your money. You must speak well. And these are physical things which seem to be the attractive force. So you see, there's a spiritual aspect, there's an emotional and mental aspect, and there's a physical aspect. Same way, vice versa. The men want the cute girls that they can lift, who can twirl, according to them. Yeah. Others too want the round-faced girls. I know one of my counselors, pastor counselors, who says he likes chubby girls because they always have this round face and they always look smiley.
Oh, okay.
And when he doesn't have money,
me on behalf of the girls who look like we don't look smiley or something.
Well, you on the behalf
on
behalf of the girls who are like you will be the stars in my French audience, because the French people love the very slim girls, and they see you as elle est mignonne, elle est belle, you are beautiful, you are just it. And then
anyway, Clement is listening, says, can you do more about the perfume? I don't know what more he wants you to say about the perfume, but
and then the plus size for the French people I used to work with would be no, you are too on the excess side. Yet in my African context, when they see you on the plus size, hey, who crash your hey, why you feel? Yeah, and so you see, depending on where you are, everybody gets. Like one young girl told me, I don't know what it is about the men and women with all the ships.
Enimonyam and echimonyam.
Jenny, on this note, let me give the listeners something to laugh about.
Like is listening to us, great conversation.
Like
great
my
discussion.
children my children in the youth and teens, not in church, but in my schools, will tell me, Auntie, we want those with the peaches and the cherries.
Okay.
So definitely this cannot be my public school children. The cherries are the fronts, and then the peaches are the backs. And you know the peach, the shape of the peach. So they are very mindful and very descriptive. So somebody is just looking out for that. These are the physical qualities people look out for. And so if you are attracted, what do you want? By the physical qualities. Let's assume you're attracted by somebody who is on the plus size. And I decide to go on a diet. After a year, I would have changed my size from a 16 to a 12. A man got upset his wife lost weight. He was so upset because the only reason he married her was because of her chubby nature.
Auntie Hannah, you reminded me of a video I saw on YouTube. These are white people. His wife is overweight. She's been told by doctors she needs to slim down. And so she's hired a fitness instructor. He's come to the home and the husband says, no. This is how I like you. This is why, one of the reasons why I married you. And she's saying, but I'm not healthy. The doctors are saying I need to watch my weight. And I'm like, how do you work out something like this? When your husband says, I like you like this, and you're thinking about your health also. I'm just wondering how people navigate that.
So you see, he's not being fair to her. Because of what he wants, she should suffer with her health. It's so unfair. And so you see, these are physical things. And just to let you know, I'm just using these various examples to bring to bear the fact that people have various
talk about these things,
various interests, what they want. I always wanted tall guys because my father is tall. My brothers are tall. It was just an ideal I had as a young child. And many people have these fantasies because of the kind of storybooks we used to read when we were young.
Sweet Valley High.
In your generation, our time, it was the Mills and Boons.
Okay.
And all these, and you would hide them because your parents are Christians. So you don't want them to see you are reading those books, and you lay them under your bed and you'll be reading them, and you create and build castles in your brain. But you get into marriage and realize that the reality is not what you read in the storybooks. So there's a disconnect between what you had in mind and what exists on the ground. So what do you want?
Clement says, that's a great way to land on the second one. What do you want? Clement says, the ladies must know that a lady's perfume draws us closer, not too loud and choking. So as a word for the women. Single or married.
I like that. I like that. So
what's the third thing?
So when you know what you want, then now go for it. It's part of preparation. Go for it. In the sense that spiritually, now that, no. Before you go for it, you yourself start preparing. Because remember, who are you? Number 2, what do you want? 3, prepare. Prepare for what you want. Now that you have defined what you want, do you match up to what you want? Because you want a guy who is an intellectual. Are you one yourself? You want a man who is spiritual. Are you spiritual to match up to him? I met a young girl who says it is a pastor or nothing. She wants to marry a pastor.
Wow.
And I deliberately gave her challenging scenarios of ministry. She said, still. I tried to discourage her. She said, still.
Tatiana, why are you trying to discourage?
It was deliberate.
It was, eh?
It was just to tease her mind to see if she had the tenacity for the assignment. So not because I didn't want her, but to check if she was prepared. It's like a military training. They take you through simulations to check if you are ready for war. And she said yes. Now the question next will be, how prepared is she? So preparation. So now that you know what you want, prepare. Prepare spiritually. You spend a lot of time praying. Know God's word. Be spiritually sensitive. Be discerning. These are giftings God has put in you once you are born again. You have the Holy Spirit that you need to activate. Because marriage is spiritual. It is mental and it is physical. Two people coming together, born again, your spirits are merging. And so you are going to be one chases 1,000, two chase 10,000. So you are operating on a spiritual level. You are a strong force. So prayer is important. Spirit of discernment, who he is, where he's coming from, his family, the background issues, challenges. How sensitive are you to pick these things? So you need time to pray. Know God's word. Intellectually, how intellectually prepared are you for that responsibility called marriage? What is marriage? What goes into it? What are the rules? What am I expected to know and expected to do? Information. Read. And this is where many young people fail. How many books on marriage have you read? None. I've listened to a few podcasts. I'm like, are you serious?
And I think at this point, I'd like to mention that at the end, I'll let Auntie Hannah touch on her book, Wedding Bells. It's a very important book. I think it's good for anyone if your child is about to marry, your son or your daughter. If you bring up the youth, you just may want to get them some wedding bells to read before they finally say, I do. Auntie Hannah, continue.
Yeah, I'll continue. So thank you for bringing that in. And so now that you are preparing spiritually, mentally was where I got to the roles and responsibility. Who is a man? What are you supposed to do? It's your role. I have a question. Why is it that when the men are in the universities and they start working, they take care of themselves, they prepare their own food, they manage their own life, immediately they get married, they are free? They cross their legs. You two don't understand.
I've been wondering. I didn't know who to ask. Maybe. Or you're also asking me.
No. Today I'm not asking you. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah. Because
they cross their legs. They watch TV. Somebody washes their clothes. Somebody feeds them. Somebody washes their plates. And they go to work. They bring in money for the family. Some, not all. They bring in money for the family. When the money is not enough, their wives bring in also money these days, and sometimes the wives are bringing in equal, less, or even more, but they still are the kings.
Your wife is not home. You have to wait for her to come to warm up your food.
They will wait.
Otherwise, you're sitting hungry.
There's a man who, if you leave his food on the table and he's on the sitting room, in the sitting room, he will not even go to the dining table. Or if you leave it in the kitchen, in the microwave, he can't pick it from the microwave to his table, because that's how he's been taught, or that's how he was brought up. So your daughters that you have trained in school, who now are so busy because of the career path they chose, now have that extra responsibility. But if we have trained these men well, according to Ephesians 5:21 all the way to 31, you are raising men who submit to Christ, men who will love their wives, men who will wash her with the washing of water by the word. And they are loving their wives as Christ did love the church and gave himself for her. From the Bible I read, the male role seems to be more difficult. Because if you are giving your life for somebody and giving everything, that's a lot. That is a lot. We have a lot of men who are doing well. Then there's parenting, there's nurturing, all these roles. Question, how prepared are you spiritually, mentally, then physically? There's a physical aspect of marriage, intimacy, we're joining together. How prepared are you physically to be able to handle this role and responsibility? The way you look to attract the man, the way you look to maintain that man, the way you look to handle his children. All these things are very vital.
Your dial is on Sunny 88.7 FM. We are with Hannah Abrahams-Appiah. We're talking about marriage preparation. This is a special one. Sometimes we get messages that you guys are not talking about the single people who are preparing for this marriage. It's only about the already married people. And so we thought that today we'll touch on that. This message here says, my husband has my husband and I have got a school 2 years now. Since the school started, he refused to give housekeeping money till date. He told me to take money we are getting from the school to feed the family of 4. And he still demands higher money to do projects for the school. The school is at a developing community and school fees is as low as 300 and 225 Ghana cedis per term. It's difficult for me. Diana, how do you feel about this situation?
It's a sad situation, and it's a clear indication that this couple needs help. They need help, meaning that maybe they should be at the Sunny retreat. It will help them. There is a problem with financial management. The whole financial education of their marriage is wrong. When you are starting a school or any project or any business and you do this joint business, it's another chapter. I don't think I want to go elaborate too much. But basically, there should be clarity on incomes, profits, and amount to spend. Because if the school is not making so much profit, I don't know how much profit she can make with a school fees of 300. When it's school fees, little. I know, is in 3,000s and 3,500s. Yeah. So the question is, how much profit is she making? How much does she need to run the home? There must be clarity, which many people don't have in their homes. So I know that in my home, I need 5,000 a month for upkeep, for food, for daily provisions, for fuel. And then the school profit is 10,000 a month. So I can use 5,000 for the home and 5,000 for projects.
So that's a discussion she needs to have with the husband.
The question is the husband willing
to have that conversation?
And that's where many people have problems.
That's another thing.
And that goes back to preparation. They may never have known each other because, you see, after you know what you want, after you start preparing yourself, then you move to the next stage, which is part of preparation, in finding who you want. So that's when we start.
That's the fourth you're sharing with us today.
So that's the last one. Finding who you want, or meeting the kind of people. So you want to make a friend, start being friendly. You want an intellectual guy, hang out with people who are smart. Maybe you are in a local church in a rural area. Most of the people in your church may not be educated. You are the lone university student there. You definitely would not find that kind of spouse you want in that church. When there are workshops, when there are programs by people like Nanayao, you won't go. Where you would meet other Christians. You wouldn't go for seminars. You wouldn't go for conferences. You wouldn't learn more. So start finding where the people you want hang out. Start being just being friends. You know, by talking to people when you meet and hang out, you get to know this person, the way he speaks. Or this girl, the way she serves. I used to do something for my youth. Whenever they finished like SS or baccalaureate in the French country, I called them all to the house and I said, come, it's time for us to have fun. So we cook and eat and laugh. What they didn't know is I was observing their behavior over food. How some just become careless. The girls who are hardworking get into the kitchen. Auntie, can I help you? The lazy ones sit back, want to be served. So by the end of the day, I know the lazy ones, the hardworking.
The girls from the women.
I separate the girls from the women, and I separate
and the boys from the men.
Because you will meet the boys who wake up, clean up immediately you finish, and those who want to be served water, those who will tell the girls, take my cup away.
Hey.
And it is so obvious in just one day.
Somebody's daughter is your classmate. She should take your cup away.
She should take your cup away. And they also do it. A lot of girls have been trained to serve unconsciously without thinking. So they do it without as a reflex. So immediately we realize that there is a problem. So finding the person, being in the spaces, prayerfully, intentionally, reaching out, networking. There's a woman who, she intentionally creates programs for her children and their friends so that she can start helping them to match up.
That's wonderful. So we have Abna listening in from the US. This interesting conversation. I just woke up and tuned in. Good morning, Abna. Says, answer to your question of why the men cross their legs, etc. It is what they have seen and absorbed and fantasized from childhood. Marriage is work that the immature men and women all do not wish for. The women quickly rise to the occasion, but the men tend to stay on as boys. Please, I need a copy of this conversation, Pa JJD. Abna sharing from the US as nuggets of gold shared Pa. So this morning, we're sharing with our single men and women who are yet to say I do, are looking forward to saying I do, to make the best of choices. Auntie Hannah, I wanted to pick up your mind on women proposing to men. I mean, you're talking about, let's say I'm a Christian. You didn't see this coming, right? So I'm a Christian young woman. I've been naive for a very long time. Now my eyes are open. I'm like 40-something years. This guy looks great. He's checked the boxes spiritually, emotionally, mentally. All the boxes he has checked. But he's not saying anything. What do you think about women going ahead to
There are
propose?
different schools of thoughts when it comes to women going ahead to propose. But the Bible is always my reference point.
Okay.
Because Genesis 2:18, God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make an helpmeet for him. And after God made him, the Bible tells us again that he took the woman and brought her to the man. So if we want to use the biblical method, which has been our tool, women are found. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So women were created actually to be found, from what we learn in the Bible and apply. Now the question is, are the women findable? Are they findable? Are they in the places? So you are giving a scenario of a woman who says the man she's hanging around is not speaking. What happens is there are women who know how to give cues, and that goes to what I gave you earlier. So the way they have been taught to talk to them, it's like, oh, we've been friends. You're a nice person. What's going on? I've seen you showing interest in me. Sometimes you can jack them up to reality by asking them straight questions. There's a girl who went out one day with a guy and was like, oh, save the date. And everybody was wondering what date. And he hadn't proposed. But it made the guy think about it. Oh, okay. So there were cues. These are subtle cues. So there are some girls who know how to give the subtle cues for the man to take the initiative. We've had cases of women who actually went out of their way to propose, and the guys accepted. Some have had good marriages, but there are a lot who, when marriages go sour, and then now they start feeling like, oh, I've been thrown away, I've been rejected. Because you may have reversed the biblical order, which we are using as our standard. The Bible order is the standard we are using. So if you look at all our fathers of faith, Abraham found his wife, Isaac, a wife was found for him, Jacob and Rebecca, they went to find their wives. So we are using the biblical order in the processing. And so just make sure that if you have a friend who likes you, you like the person, be findable. You could be with him, but you are not findable. He may be afraid of you. You may be too rigid. He wants your number. You say you don't have WhatsApp. You are not findable. You are not findable. So you see, some of the women make it very difficult for the men to also be able to loosen up. Somebody said, concrete. It's not concrete. It's just that they may be scared.
Yeah.
What the fear of rejection. That woman may be my classmate or higher than I am. Her father is wealthy. So the guy himself is insecurity based. And he still wants to get a good girl, but the insecurity. Then he gathers courage to speak to her. And we women, we know how to do it badly. The way she will look at him, size him, sometimes they put these men down in a way that is so debasing.
I'm so glad you've talked about this. I was listening to Prophet Sarkodie preach one time, and he touched on this, that, I mean, if a guy has proposed to you and you don't like him, you don't need to make him feel so bad that he doesn't even have any self-esteem left in him to go and propose to another woman. Yeah. So thank you for touching on that. I mean, if it's a no, but
and the
don't even so broking that.
And the truth is, most of the young men propose when they have just finished university or starting out on life, and never use somebody's today to judge their future.
Talking about that, Auntie Hannah, not using somebody's today to touch on their tomorrow. Let's talk about finances, because some people also feel that, I need to get to a certain level. There's a certain money I have to have in my account before I go and bring someone's daughter into my house. I mean, these conversations come up. Is there a certain amount, a cap of money Is there certain assets one should have before they go and bring somebody's daughter into their home? How
This
do you go
topic
about
of
these
money,
things?
are you sure we can handle it?
Okay, then let's just touch a bit of it and then we'll bring you back.
You bring me back.
So let's just a little bit of it. Our friends from Chosen are here, so it looks like this conversation is getting more interesting. Yeah.
The topic of finances is complicated. But first and foremost, I would say for any young man who is contemplating or even thinking of getting married, first and foremost, define who you are, have a clear path for your life, and have a clear way of how you believe God is going to provide for you. Know that money is given by God. That statement, somebody reminded me, has scarred me, and I'm glad it did. He says, "Nyame ne mesika." There is no amount of savings you can save to be ready for taking care of somebody's daughter. Our tastes are different. If you have a daughter, somebody's daughter who knows how to spend money, that your savings can be finished in 6 hours.
Yeah, the wedding crowd will finish the savings.
6 hours. And so there's no amount of savings you can have. But know how to find money. Okay. Know how to manage money. And know how to invest money. Those are the key principles. There are some guys who don't know how to find money. They don't understand the whole money dynamics. Because if all you ever get is based on just your labor, the day you are not physically strong to input energy into work, no money. What are the creative skills you have? What are the business acumen you have? What can you trade? How to find money? Now, finding money is just step one. You can find and save. But saving money is just waiting for a lean day to be able to spend it. Yeah. So finding money is good, but you need a constant flow. I'm a geologist. If you go and hit a well. We are geologists. Thank you. And you go and hit a well and a spring of water starts and it doesn't have a good yield. It's just a matter of time. It will run out. But if you get a well with a yield that can serve you for 200 years, then we are talking of a proper well. And so that man, what kind of wealth can you generate on a constant basis? If you lose your job today, in 6 months, if you have run out of your savings, then you are not a constant well flowing.
How about the women who also coming to marriage expecting that they just also cross their legs?
That's another chapter.
And the man is taking care of every single... I know there are discussions that I had, some may have that agreement, but for a man who may have assumed, say, we're going to be sharing the financial, and then he has a rude awakening after a couple of months that, no, I'm sorry, boss, you bring the money, I do the spending. Do you come across cases like this?
There are so many. There's a very sad case of this young man who hustled his way through life. He learned how to make money. He learned how to manage money, saw this beautiful girl and got married. And this is where preparation comes in. What he didn't know is he had carried a baggage into his house. This girl was raised by a single mother. This girl had a terrible experience based on maybe how her father treated her mother. So she came into marriage with an attitude of, and she crossed her legs because what she brought on the table was her figure, her body. And
the figure you dreamed of.
Her figure and her body. She would not work. Then she got pregnant early in marriage. This is also part of preparation and planning because you didn't get to know her enough. And then suddenly pregnancy comes in. So you are not able to decipher between who she really is or the effect of pregnancy. Now, she'd want house helps for everything. So the man has to pay a house help. She won't cook. She won't clean. She won't wash. I mean, nothing. And she's not working too.
This is an extremely rude awakening.
Very rude awakening. The guy was so frustrated. I think their marriage is off now. He couldn't handle it. He was pulling all his resources and he was not being compensated by support. And so we have these scenarios. Now, when you make the money, how are you managing it? Investment, multiplication. Do you spend everything? Some spend more than they earn. And then now they want somebody else to give them. Some know how to borrow. I know somebody who is always borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, both the females and the male. There was a girl who got upset with her mom because she went to a salon and was like, we give them patch, and the girl says, Mommy, you have too many. And she was always borrowing. It was not as if she was buying with cash. So she will always go and pick on credit.
Because I was wondering why the hairdresser would say, oh, you have too many. If
not the hairdresser, the woman's daughter.
The woman's daughter, okay.
She was, mommy, it is enough. Because you are always taking them on credit.
Not cool. You know, we're going to have to bring Auntie Hannah back because it looks like we continue. We'll finish at 10 and then my friends from Chosen Rehab smiling at me right now will not be smiling. Anyway.
But don't forget to talk about wedding bells and get it right.
That's how I want us to wrap up with wedding bells. I mean, after I read it, I thought, I wish it was a book I had to read. But thank God for people who are about to make that decision today. You can get a copy, and for parents out there, you can get a copy for your son, for your daughter who's also considering marriage around this time. And if you can tell us shortly about wedding bells, how people can get copies.
Okay, so shortly, I wrote a book called Get It Right, Marriage is Not a Game of Chance. I have hard copies and online copies. You can get on Amazon, you can get on a Seller. So if you go to Seller, you get the readable versions. You won't get the PDFs, but you get the readable versions, online versions, because I have run out of hard copies of the Get It Right. But Get It Right is like a premarital counseling book. Great for those getting married and also in married who missed that stage. So most of the things I told you today is from 2 or 3 of my chapters in that book. Now, after I wrote it, I told you again, I have students who are lazy readers. And so because I love using stories to teach the same principles, I came up with Wedding Bells. So Wedding Bells is about a young girl who wants to get married, but refused to check the right boxes in preparation. And the effect it had on her, her family. Yeah. I don't want to give them a peek into the story, but just for 40 Ghana, it's a very small book, easy to read. In fact, we are thinking of even making it into a film.
Fantastic.
You can get a copy of this. Because
it felt like I was watching a movie while reading it. I mean, I could picture every single page.
It's a conversation starter. Yeah. It's a great book for reflection. Every pastor must get copies for all the youth in church.
I agree.
I want to shout out to Mr. Ali. He bought a whole pack for the people in his church. Then buy one for your daughters in the university, in fellowships. And if you are even married, buy one for yourself. You may have missed some of these preparations. Yeah. So this conversation we have had is not just premarital, it's even postmarital. In case you miss the preparation
stage. It's never too late to go back to
revise,
these discussions.
Do retrofitting and then see how you can bridge in the gaps that you may have missed. So you can get copies by texting 054 706 4982. Text and ask for Wedding Bells. You can get one for 40 Ghana cedis, or you can come to Sunny FM. We have copies here. The secretary will get some for you. Definitely.
And when you start conversations, Auntie Anna, it's always so hard to finish it. I'm just thinking there's something we should be able to do for our single women out there. This one says, trust you're good. I'll be glad you share a recording of this very advisable teaching. Thank you. Abna says, interesting topic for the singles. I have a contribution to singles out there that came to mind, that this thing where they are dating and start acting like married couples, any reason why we are not teaching them to charge for this service? Because a lot of the singles are role-playing, thinking that is how they figure out if this person is the right person or not. I still need the conversation. Abna, we've heard you, and we'll delve more into this conversation for singles who are also planning to get married. It's all part of our Marriage Unscripted Series right here on the IM Drive. Good morning to Ivana, who's also listening, says, good morning. She calls me Awula. I don't know if she calls everybody that. She calls me Awula, says, Auntie Hannah is definitely coming on board our Queen Esther experience in the church. Yes.
Shout out to Ivana. Yes. My heart group girl.
Auntie Fati says, God bless Auntie Hannah. These are hard conversations. We need this all the time. Christian women are naive, know how to find money. Work on it. And that's how we wrap up our Marriage Unscripted series today with Hannah Abrahams-Appiah. I don't know if I can bring her in for a part 2, but we'll discuss it and see if it is possible. If it is possible. So, Auntie, if you wanted to hear a favor from Lawrence, this is for you.
This sound is going around the world. Angels of favor, 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 angels of favor.